Hello, Fort McMurray. It has been a hot minute since I've had something really important to share with you, and I hope that you recognize that when I do have something to say, it's important, and this message is incredibly important. Fort McMurray, we need your help. I'm Melanie Galea, the host of Discover Fort McMurray, and I'm with some very, very special guests. And Gayleen, introduce yourself first.
Hello, everyone. I am Gayleen Weidlich. I am the Executive Director for the Wood Buffalo Community Foundation.
Awesome. And Leanne, enter us.
Hi, I'm Leanne Kumka. I have a day job, but in my volunteer hours, I volunteer with the Fort McMurray Ukrainian Cultural Society, and I have partnered with Taras.
I am Taras Andrusyev, president of Oil Sands Rotary Club in Cologne, and we've partnered with Ukrainian Cultural Society to help with the folks coming over and fleeing war.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but awesome that you're here to talk about this. So I apologize, my little brand. I'm going to get rid of. Oh, there we go. Okay, I figured something out here. All right, my logo was on top of your face, Taras. I apologize. I fixed that. For those that are twitchy that have ADD at home, I fixed it. All right, there's an important message. There are. Do you want me to start with the slideshow? How do you guys want to get into this? Because we have people coming to our community, and help is needed. And I think we've been watching this war that's happening. It doesn't feel real because it's not quite in our backyard. So sometimes maybe it doesn't feel real. And if you've ever wondered what can we do, I mean, we've been through tragedy. We haven't, we've had to evacuate. Fort McMurray understands evacuation, but we don't understand what it means to be an actual refugee from your country and have to flee for your lives, to possibly never go back to your home. So thank you all for stepping in and giving Fort McMurrayites the opportunity to contribute. So do you guys want to get into the presentation that we have here, so that I think that'll keep us on track and in line? What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. There's lots of great background information in there, and kind of gives us where we are up to date. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, slide 1 is up, and it talks about the background of what you guys are up to.
Yeah, if you go to the next one, the next slide, what happened, many people know, they saw it on news and TV. February 24th in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. And, we've seen horrific images of bombings and warfare, and people being hurt, being killed. And that's what's happened in Ukraine. It's hit off the largest migration since World War II. The current estimates are about 16 million people have left their homes in Ukraine. Over 7 million people have actually left Ukraine proper to go to different countries to find safety for themselves and for their family. Canada's response to that was the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel. So that was a way to help Ukrainians, especially those who have friends, family, relatives that are here in Canada, arrive to Canada. And we've had in Canada over 241,000 applications. There's been a number of approvals. There's been, some of these numbers might be a little bit old, but I think now it's actually been 3,500 people who have actually arrived in Alberta. Some of those are families, so 678 families, individuals. I think the important thing that we wanted to share is that people are arriving here. We have had 52 plus people arriving in Fort McMurray. Some of them are singles, some of them are families, some of them are moms with mother-in-laws with their kids because they had to leave their husbands and brothers and sons behind. They're there fighting. And there are more people coming. Every day we turn around and we say, hey, did you know someone else arrived? And there are people that are arriving sometimes daily, sometimes weekly into our community right now.
Wow. And I think people may not have any idea. I saw the Ukrainian flag when I came back from a recent trip through the airports, and now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. So We've got the next slide that talks about Fort McMurray.
So something we've done to date is that we've formed a committee between Ukrainian Cultural Society and the Rotary Club in town to start, I guess, organizing ourselves in the way that, setting up relationships with service providers, providing more or less a one-stop shop for information for the newcomers, and just basically being information providers and relationship managers, if you will. The purpose of the committee is to assist the settlement of the Ukrainians in Fort McMurray as a community, direct organizations that are established to assist. So, for example, YMCA is doing quite a bit to help out. And just providing basic guidance and support to some of the folks that may need. Some folks come very well prepared and, some folks come very well prepared. Other people are fleeing a situation that did not allow them to be as prepared to come to Canada. They're basically just fleeing a really bad situation in their hometown or whatnot. So people are needing various degrees of support.
Okay, and we're going to get into what some of that support is going to look like when at a certain point in time here. Okay, you got the challenges.
Yeah. This is a really short list of challenges. As we've kind of gotten into this and helping people out, some of the challenges are people have been displaced up to 120 days. This is even more now, but as you can tell, like if you had savings and you were not in your home and you were not working, your savings would be dwindling. You just wouldn't have that capacity anymore to pay for your first month's rent, pay for your damage deposit, pay for necessities like setting up a household. I don't know if you remember, but when we first moved out and we had that grocery cart and we were putting in just the basics, flour, spices, salt, pepper, it added up quite quickly. And a lot of these folks are faced with that challenge right now. Paperwork, oh my goodness, is there a lot of paperwork that they have to do? That takes time. Getting your health card number, getting your driver's license, getting set up with a bank account in Canada. And some of them are coming with whatever they had in their backpack and their suitcase at that point in time. They're challenged with differentials between costs. Canada is more expensive than Ukraine. And language is always a concern, depending on where they came from. They may have a very basic understanding of English, intermediate understanding of English, or no English at all. And different levels of trauma. People have seen some pretty horrific things coming from there.
Gotcha. Okay, so what's some of the work that's already been done?
Well, like I mentioned before, some of the relationships have been established between the different service providers in town, such as YMCA. We established a relationship with Wood Buffalo Community Foundation. We formed committees. We've defined a charter within our community. With our committee. We established a needs assessment, which is apparently a big chunk of work. We presented to mayor and council as a primer presentation for future discussions. We've established partnerships with various housing providers and so on. And and we've established a relationship with Buffalo Community Foundation through the Drawdown Fund.
You've been busy. I would say, right? You've been very busy. Okay, so you've got a phased approach to what's going to happen.
The challenge that we really faced was, what is happening? What is it going to look like in Fort McMurray? And in order to really understand what was happening, we said, let's figure out what it's going to look like to really help 100 people settle in Fort McMurray. What does it look like for housing, employment, childcare, getting a household set up? How do you get around town? Is it bikes? Is it bus passes? Where do you get the services that you need as a newly arrived person? So we really took that and said, let's just deal with the first group of people that are going to come, so we can get those roadmaps established and know how to help direct people.
Right. And how are things going so far, do you think?
They're going well. People are starting to, we have English classes that are set up. So some of the Ukrainians that have arrived have started with English classes. Today I stopped into the class and they were talking about family relationships. What's your brother? What's your sister? What are those words in English versus Ukrainian? So they were really starting to craft some of those basic language skills that you need in talking. There is challenges. We have spent a lot of time figuring out who is the correct person to reach out to. Is it the YMCA settlement services? Is it the Multicultural Association with their Welcome Center? How does the Wood Buffalo Community Foundation help? How does the municipality play a part? How do we find housing for folks that meets their needs? So it's been a really, really steep learning curve for us.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So phase 2.
Phase 2 is very largely dependent, like Leanne mentioned. Initially, we did not know what was the scope of the engagement here. So we kind of just drew to 2 phases. The first phase being the initial intake of 100 folks, and phase 2 is very much based on the path forward that the Canadian government, local, so municipal, provincial, and federal government, what steps they take, at what rate they're going to open up the visas and permits per QIT. And so phase 2 is just nominally picking a number out of, the next largest number is be 1,000. So we're looking at settling 1,000 people, but not at this moment. We are still well below 100. We're looking to cross that threshold by about September, I think. So, and the idea is that we will leverage the relationships established and learnings established in phase 1, and provide as much help to as many people as we can.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of housing. That's a lot of people.
It could be. And I think the one thing that we talked about was there are up to 400 people a day arriving in Canada. They're arriving into big centers like Toronto and Edmonton. And a lot of those cities don't have capacity for folks anymore. And we thought, geez, Fort McMurray has been so fantastic to us. We live here, we work here, we have our families here. And if there is opportunity for jobs and for hardworking people that want to come here, then let's set up those pathways so that they can come here and be part of our community.
Right. Okay. So assistance, this is what's needed next.
Well, so the most acute need, just like in anybody's life, would be the employment. Meaningful employment tends to handle or address many other life's little challenges and needs. Second biggest thing would be funding to provide assistance to those through Wood Buffalo Community Foundation, to provide assistance with housing, food, transportation, training, meaning either job training for specific roles or English, even basic English. Childcare subsidy, because not everyone necessarily gets to enjoy the $10 or the promised $10 a day childcare, which is becoming a prohibitive or a limiter for a lot of people to work, because if they're going to be earning less than they're paying for childcare, they're obviously going to stay home, and that's not good for anyone.
Right.
One of the biggest things we're asking for is share the message. Like we are trying to help out. Everybody can help in their own little way. Some people help out by showing up and helping and volunteering a little bit. Some people show up, and maybe donate something or donate funds. And basically, just like anything else, every time I ask somebody for something, they say no, but then they'll offer me something much better later. So just chatting, discussing the challenges with folks, and people come up with very creative solutions to otherwise what appears to be insurmountable, challenge. And we step up, and looks like we're making some headway.
That's the Fort McMurray way. That's who we are. That's what we do. It's the place where our friends become our family, because most people are from other places. So it does not, I think the biggest hurdle is getting the word out on what you need, because once the word is out on what you need, you're going to get what you need. So let's be very specific on the request so that you do get exactly what you need, because I know this community, and so I think, that the three most important things that we've talked about, and before we got on, we talked about they need jobs, they need money, and they need transportation. And so you guys talked about that sometimes there's opportunities through some of the employers, make sure you talk to your employer. Are they matching the donations that are made? Right. So if there's that opportunity, definitely, you could double down on your contribution, which is fantastic. Thank you to all of the businesses that are doing that.
Absolutely. So I'll just chime in here too. So the Wood Buffalo Community Foundation, we have set up that the FMWB Ukrainian Support Fund, and it is a flow-through fund, or spend-down fund. All funds raised go directly to support Ukrainian evacuees and their families. We are not charging any administrative fees on this fund. So every dollar raised gets sent directly to support these families. So we have raised actually over $30,000 so far. There are obviously, for some people that have heard, there are provincial programs and federal programs that are helping to provide that support, but there are always situations where there are cracks within the systems, and so these donations will help provide that funding for to mitigate those gaps and to help support those families in the immediate need that they have, as well as the long-term support that they will need. For example, mental health supports. Many of these, like Leanne said, many of these families are experiencing various levels of trauma, and they will need that mental health support in the long run.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's a really, really important point. So Fort McMurray, there's several asks here. Number one, get the word out. Please share this video because it's so important to get the word out there. If you can spare some money, go to the wbcfoundation.ca. You can see the name on the screen there. Make any smaller donation amounts, or you can e-transfers to the email that's up there, donations@wbcfoundation.ca. Or you can also mail a check, and the address is up there. Fort McMurray, we can make a difference. And I know how beautiful and how generous this community is. And I hope that people that are already here are feeling welcomed and feeling safe. I think that's the most important thing, feeling welcome and feeling safe, and like the possibility that this truly could become home for the people that we welcomed into the community. Is there anything else you guys want to add to this?
I think there's two things. That the people that are coming are really, really appreciative. We had a potluck dinner a couple of weeks ago, and one of the gentlemen, that they said, he doesn't want to ask, but what he really wants is a few tools so that he can, hang some pictures on the wall in his new apartment. And we have had some donations, and we went and bought some gift cards, and we gave him a Canadian Tire gift card so he could go and buy some tools. And he was just tearing up. He couldn't believe that someone would just give him money so he could go buy some hammer and nails to be able to do that and put pictures of his family up on the wall. And we have been given some gift cards for groceries, and they're just so thankful that they can go and they can provide food for their families. And they are the people that are here, they're working hard to learn English and improve their skills because they want to work, they want to be contributing, they want to make their lives whatever they can, and take the terrible situation and horrible situation that they're in and make it the best that they can. And they are truly fantastic people, and really are can be a real benefit to our community. And they are just thankful for anything.
Well, I want to thank you all and all of your volunteers that are the unsung heroes for taking all the time that you're spending, because you all have day jobs and all of that. And if you want to help Fort McMurray, it's on the screen right there. And the other best way, if you don't have funds, just share this video. Share this video, because that small difference, you don't know who you're going to reach. So is there anything else you guys want to leave before we wrap it up here?
Just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to come and present our cause.
Oh, if this is the least that I can do, that I'm more than happy to help. And I hope that it makes a difference for you guys. So Fort McMurray, you know what to do. We've been there before. This is at a whole other level. And I hope that your heart opens and your wallet opens, or even if you can just share, because that makes a difference too. So thanks for being on, guys. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. And maybe we could do an update episode in a couple of weeks when you have things going a little bit more, so that if your needs change or your wants change, or maybe we can even just have an update on what's happening. I think that would be really wonderful. I hope you'd be open to that.
Absolutely. We'd love to come back.
Okay, awesome. All right, Fort McMurray, thank you for your time. Thank you for your hearts. And for those of you that donate, this cause can't thank you enough. So I hope you're having a great night, and thanks for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.